Going to come out of the executive session at
It's 4:16.
4:16. Waiting for Tim Limbo's our candidate for Marshal to come in, and then we'll discuss whether we go back into executive session that time. At this point, we're just gonna hold, wait for him. Looks like this. We're in open session right now. I'm gonna start an executive session. You have the option, if you'd like, prefer to go into for the interview questions to go into executive session or stay out here in public. Okay, great. And we're back. It's recording. We welcome Tim Limbo, our candidate for the Water Marshal. So welcome. Have you here. So all right, so just to go over a couple of questions now. Obviously the job description and so on, and we've talked about that in the past. We did go talk about the 2 hours open to the public.
Yes.
So you'd be here sometime. So how do you see yourself managing this?
So for me, it's planning ahead type of a thing. It's not going to be, unfortunately, my rotating schedule. I can't do set days. It can't be like Tuesday, Thursday, like it happened now. But going, making sure that, picking July, so starting July, whenever, I'm going to make to the public, hey, I'm going to do this hours and these hours. That way it's on the public schedule and stuff like that. That way people will have the ability to come in and do it. I'm not opposed to using open go, which a lot of departments and a lot of places are using right now to help with facilitating where in Richfield, we rarely have anybody come into the office except if we have to schedule a meeting because there's an issue they don't understand. So, but yeah, going forward, scheduling times to make it so that, try and work with Joe and work with other people to make it so that it'll be more available once. So it's going to be one difficult year for me type of thing to make that, it's not going to be difficult on town, it's going to be difficult on me just making sure it works. Once my daughter goes into kindergarten, then they have full day, so I can make it, it's easier to figure out that time, so I can make it, more available. So it's one year, it's 1 year heartache for me type of thing.
So are you thinking, Tim, that you could do like a monthly schedule?
Oh, at least.
So I mean, even if it was like a month, figure out what days you're gonna be there. Month.
Yeah.
For hours.
Yeah, that's easy.
Then I could know, then if we could post that, that would be helpful.
Yeah. So
For
like
the office, and, working.
So what I do, so even right now, like my schedule for Richfield, my deputy fire marshal schedule, we do like a month in advance. So like I have all my July schedule set to everything. So again, it's just working, just setting the schedule beforehand and makes it a lot easier when you set the schedule beforehand. It's hard to live my life now, unfortunately.
Exactly. Opening communication, let people know in advance, month to month. Okay. A question about deputies and so on. Some deputies, I understand Tom has taken a position, Tom Osborne has taken a position up in Warren.
Yep.
About to take a position. And you had talked about Stan and having a relationship with him.
Yeah.
He agreed to do some work with that. How else do we handle other deputy support?
So I would reach out to like the town of Milford, town of Sherman, other surrounding towns and stuff like that to see like mutual aid agreement type of things. I know New Milford has multiple deputies, Sherman right now is Chris Fuchs is a career deputy down in Westport as well too. And, just reaching out to other deputies and stuff like that to make it so that we can make sure there's coverage and stuff like that. I want to make sure that we don't sit there, I don't have coverage when I'm working my 24-hour shifts to make sure. I want to make sure that I have somebody here. I don't want to say, hey, we're just call the state. That's not the way the state system is supposed to work. I don't want that to be that way. I want it to be so that we have coverage to make it, so we're stuff like that. And, when part of the agreements, if I get the position, part of the agreement would be like to talk to them for like, okay, hey, if your deputy comes to stuff like that, the town can't reimburse the Milford or something like that. That's just something global discussion to have type of thing. Because again, are they going to be paid by Kent or be paid by New Milford? That's there's a lot of different things to think. So I'd rather, if we can get one or two more deputies here, but it's a full year of, schooling in order to do this as well too. So it's a lot of.
Is there anybody in the Kent Volunteer Fire Department that might be interested or?
I'd have to ask, honestly. I don't know who would have building or code enforcement that would have at the time.
I mean, Tom is probably still interested.
Well, I'm sure Tom still wants to do
Yeah.
that as well too. But it's a full year of your life. I remember going there, I didn't get paid when I went to the class. It's all my expenses and stuff like that. Stan sponsored me to go to the class, but that was it. It was on my dime and everything like that. So, just like. I think it's full year. The spring session and the fall session. I know Chris Allward, who got promoted with me at the same time in September of last year, just came on the line the month. So that was the 2 sessions that he went through. So not a full year, but that's a long
Big
period of
chunk.
time. And it's not, and you don't go to Rocky Hill anymore. You're going to Hartford. So that's a further drive to Rocky Hill type of thing to make sure you go there. And it's one session's 3 days a week, the other session's 2 days a week. So it's a big commitment.
Okay. Joe, you had a question?
Yeah, I know you've been deputy fire, you've never acted as a fire marshal, right?
So no, I'm still deputy in both places type of thing. So I'm not an actual full fire marshal.
As far as your duties, did you ever do any plan reviews, work on any plans?
So I do that stuff now in Richfield right now. So I was working with Guy McGlynn before he went on Aberdeen. We would do some plan reviews. And then doing it right now. Drew is a newer fire marshal as well too. He's actually the interim fire marshal in Richfield has less experience than I do type of thing. So he's relying on me. So again, going through the plan reviews, we're doing Station 2 remodel, there's a BMW dealership remodel, so yes, we do the plan reviews together type of thing like that. So
Because I do appreciate, Stan, we do a lot of them together, we work together, I mean, not necessarily at the same time, but we'll compare notes and say, this is what I got, because a lot of our codes are identical.
Yeah, the lot
New
of
construction for sure.
yeah, the IFC references, I see a lot of that kind of stuff. So you're absolutely right with that. So
And it's helpful for me to have another set of eyes, because I don't know, especially commercial.
seeing a lot of that stuff these days.
Yeah.
A lot of commercial, a lot of multifamilies and stuff.
And then the other thing was administration, and you won't have it.
Yeah.
So is that shouldn't get.
There should really be an issue. Again, right
I
now.
know you're using your permit, you're gonna have a system in place for your inspection.
Yes, that's the
The inspection.
that's the first due program does all the inspections and stuff like that. We went through the first due, keeping the records and stuff like that. All those reports get emailed out, but the only thing that I have to figure out is just mailing out certain ones as well too. And that's just it comes down to like, okay, do I bring it upstairs to Joyce? Do I just go to the post office or account? Those things I just don't know that part of it. So a lot of the stuff is, electronic. It makes it a lot easier and, the notepad, writing stuff down is great, but now like I can show you the reports that we do now. It's like I take a picture of it, send it with the violation code, like the code section with it right then and there. People get it and they appreciate it a lot because we switched over to ESO a year and a half ago. And it's been really like the past 6 to 8 months where it's really been implemented on the marshalling side. People appreciate it. Before it was only just a checkbox. Hey, you need emergency lights. Okay, so you need to address emergency lights. Which emergency lights are you talking about? We go around and take a picture of an emergency light you need to address, send it in an email. People love that because they actually know which ones it is and stuff like that. It makes it a lot easier.
They're trying to use as little paper as possible, is what you're saying.
We use iPads.
Don't look at.
So we use an iPad, take the pictures on the iPad, and import it, so when I go through the program, I add the picture to it. Certain areas it's on great for cell coverage, other ones are not. So sometimes I just take the picture when I get back, then I just upload it to it, make sure that works.
So you don't necessarily have a need for a PC or a desktop?
No.
Print it. Well, you can print it, yeah, you can print it.
Yeah, I can print it from my iPad and stuff like that, so that's pretty easy.
So communication out in the field besides the iPad, what phone do you use?
So I have, so it's kind of a contention right now in Richfield because I've used my own cell phone. We've said, we should be having our own phones, but the town doesn't want to do it at this point. I would feel that having your own cell phone is an important thing. That way, I'd say they can kind of separate a little bit as well too. So I know when the Kent phone's ringing, I'm picking up at the Kent Fire Marshal's office. Now I'm picking up phone calls. I don't even know who's calling me half the time, whether it's the property owner from this location, property owner from that location. They finally actually got me an actual number now, an office number. So I crossed out my cell phone number to the office number at work. So people can call there and it forwards to my cell phone. you know, just having a little separation would be
So
appreciated.
you would want a town of Kent cell phone?
Yes, and then I also reached out to Verizon rep, because I've dealt with Verizon from the fire department and through Richfield on the IT coordinator too. $39.99 a month for a cell phone. First two are, we have FirstNet or Verizon. FirstNet's actually cheaper, Verizon's actually cheaper for this point right here. So $39.99 a month with a free phone, and then the tablet plan is only $20 a month. FirstNet is still $39.99 a month. So they changed it to, they have a $20 a month plan for the iPad. So the iPad itself is $399, which actually went down in price. Before this process went through me and Stan, I actually looked at the budget and stuff like that, went through the whole thing. To like, make sure we have the money to go forward, stuff like that's appropriate for this.
Right.
So,
So that was all part of the budget.
yeah. They actually, the price of the iPad actually came down $100, that's good.
Ah, there you go.
That's always happened.
No, I actually agree with you. I really think it's a
Yeah, I have one.
separation between the personal and the work cell phone.
And the legality of those schools too, is like say somebody called my cell phone, right? And then all of a sudden they're FOI on the cell phone,
Yeah.
and you have to now hand over your personal cell phone. That was something that again we brought up, and it's Richfield's a little bit different, you know, than Kent. So it's just different animals. You can't compare the two for everything, so.
So if you had a town cell phone, then you'd be advertising that number.
Yeah, I'll put that
Yeah,
number
yeah.
down, that's a number to contact me. Either you call the office or call that one right there. And I know like right now you call the office number and voicemails get emailed and stuff like that. So either way.
And he had, there was a fire marshal tonight. With, also, all that would be tied in, so try to keep some separate.
Well, the thing, I remember even, it was under Gene, like I was doing an abatement, like emailing back and forth with Kent's school, and we were going to the abatement process. I didn't have a town email, I was using my personal email. So I'm like, time out here, Gene, I need to get a deputy, so I have a deputy fire marshal at Connecticut.org email address. And I want to make sure we do the same thing for this right here as well too, just fire marshal at Connecticut.org, you know. Just again, separating things, so.
Yep. Guess I'll take care of her. Okay. Do you have any add-ons or anything you want to add? That's pretty much my question. I mean, we had a bunch of discussions already.
So the only thing I'd ask or add is, I know right now it's an hourly position. And I think that, and then talking to Stan, again, I talked to Stan about this. I understand the hourly principles for him and stuff like that, but like, I'm just gonna give you an example, like when I'm leaving here right now, I'm going to South Country. And if I don't forget to log into the iPad, you know, I don't get paid. I forget, like the other day, I forgot to actually go to school. I was there for an hour and a half. I forgot to go to the iPad. I forgot to log into the work thing. So I would like the conversation at some point, you know, if it was to be a salary position, just because different hours and stuff like that, there might be points where in the summertime, especially now, I'm doing all the schools. I can be doing 30 hours 1 week and well above the 12, but later on, when things slow down, I may be doing 4 hours or just office hours and stuff like that. So that's just a conversation I'd like to have at some point, but that's just something to ask you guys, you know, ask the town. So.
Yes.
Yeah, talk about that.
No, I-
During budget season, when nobody likes us, when we don't like anyone too much.
No, I'm just, you know, just.
I know it.
It's just, I mean, as a supervisor, you will be able to adjust if you forget. You
Yeah.
can go in and you can change things
Yeah.
in the program.
Exactly.
So that you won't have to worry about.
Okay.
And it's minimum 12 hours a week, so we know that there's times when you do a lot more, there's times when maybe quiet, maybe in the middle of winter, there's no construction, going on, no checks. On any kind of plans, and nobody's playing fires anywhere. Yeah. Well, but still, so we understand that adjustment. Yep. But at this point, that's where we're gonna be.
Okay, that's
Anything else, any questions?
I would just want to hear you, I mean, I know you're very involved in the fire department, but I would just like to hear you talk about how you anticipate that relationship's gonna work.
Yeah, I wasn't all the way up to an assistant chief type of thing. I have a lot of respect to the people who still reach out to me all the time and stuff like that for this type of thing. And there's a cohesiveness now. I'm not gonna know something's going on unless I hear from the first responders. I want to make sure the first responders have an open channel to me. I always want to ask the questions and stuff like that. And same token, you know, when they're building new construction, invite, say, hey guys, let's do a walkthrough this. Making sure, like, yeah, I know they did that with the High Watch Farm. you know, when they're doing the construction, that's when you're gonna learn the ins and outs of the buildings, because that's
We
what we're learning.
did a lot of inspection, a lot of joint inspections.
Yeah.
There was so much.
Even now, like, you know, they're doing, you know, redoing downtown Richfield, they were doing the Coles, now they have Marshalls, now they're doing something else into it as well too, just going and walking through that. There's 911th now, the new medical suite, you know, I went through as a marshal, but the fire guys don't, so now we're making sure that we get the fire guys to come down as a shift to come down. Because they're not gonna know what the electrical rooms are and stuff like that, it just comes down to working together, making sure everything is just cohesive, you know. If anybody's a costume, they call me, just go back and forth, I have no problem.
I think it's really key. I mean, I've watched so many planning and zoning meetings where they're talking about like driveways and stuff like that. And the fire marshal can be such a good conduit for the fire department because you're seeing the plans. You're right in the middle of it. You're there like sort of on the outside.
You're absolutely right, and like, you know, like, hey, this turning radius is gonna be, hey Gary, I know you come on the software, can you check this right here, you know, just bring it to the fire department, hey, do you guys see anything that you to address on this right here? I have my code, was there anything you would like to see?
Yeah.
So if it's within my scope of the code to ask for it, then yes, but you know, I can't unduly cost things into incur costs onto the building. Not the building purpose, the person that's building.
No, but you can flag things,
Try-
what you're saying, and
Yeah.
highlight it.
Well, the biggest thing that's going on right now with these new buildings, construction, is the E-rated glass, which I didn't know about until I took a thing a couple months ago. E-rated glass, opaque, is just the same as a 1.5 rebar concrete when it comes to radio frequencies.
Yeah.
Basically, it cuts all radio frequencies. So they're doing a lot of like bigger buildings and stuff like that. They're mandating DBAs, dual BDAs, bidirectional antennas. So basically, there's a VHF receiving system in here with an antenna on the outside. So that when you talk on your radio, you're not getting through there, but you're going through the system and going outside. So it's happening into a lot of like the sewage treatment plant in Richfield, they put one of those in there as well too, because it's just all concrete. You get to the lower levels of it, you can't get out. So a lot of more places are starting to see this, and they figure $2 a square foot to add to the cost of the building for BDA system.
I have developed that about 25 years ago in the jungles. You can get to the canopy, so we shoot things through the canopy. And then we enter it down seconds and then right up and then broadcast out. So it was really cool. Small little computer systems. Yeah, it's the only way we could get through when we were in South America. Yeah, interesting, you know, technology.
Everything is changing, you know, as we get more and more energy efficient, it's changing the way things act. So it's and right now, the code doesn't allow you to retroactively go back and say, hey, your building doesn't meet the requirements anymore. You gotta put a system in. In the next NPA book that's coming out for that particular part of the code, it is doing retroactive, because when people are changing the systems, when people go from the VHF to the 800 system, the 800 system no longer works inside that building. Now they can go back to the building owner and say, hey, you have to put this system. Because that's much of a problem for first responders. I love food time conferences because you learn so much of that kind of stuff.
Anything else?
Okay, pretty clear. I mean, I guess I would encourage you to have more deputies rather than less.
I don't disagree. That's the honestly, like reaching out to Ed Peggy, who's one of the deputies in New Milford, reaching out to Kevin, fire marshal in New Milford, just to say, hey, let's work with a cohesive thing, so we kind of like develop a little network type of thing.
Right.
You know.
And I mean, I don't know how I know how you were getting paid, but I don't know how much crossover there were with different towns. But I mean.
There is a bit, but well, because Tom was working here and I was working more too and so.
Yeah.
So was he getting paid like
He was
hourly?
on our
Deputy in Washington.
Washington.
He's not in Washington.
No.
He was the fire.
Yeah, so it does happen as long as we get the hours.
So how do you do that then? If you know what your schedule is, you know, you're not gonna be around, do you create a schedule for your deputies?
So that was like, that's the conversation I had with Stan, like, hey, I have 8 24-hour shifts a month that I can't be around today with. And to, you know, hey, you're, you know, I would like for you to work these days, and he agreed to do that, knowing that I have certain things I cannot do type of thing. I've also talked to my chief, I've also talked to the marshal, stuff like that. If something was happening in the daytime of the marshalling office, I need to come up here. I come up here. A lot of the times, I'll, you know, handle, we'll investigate, you know, tomorrow, I'll investigate later on type of thing. You know, big fires, really, we have to come up and do that kind of thing, so. Or you make sure that you have the written consent to go back and listen later on or something like that.
But that's paperwork and, you know, maybe it's gonna be important for you as well.
Well, that's, we are paperwork driven, people don't realize it. Like this morning, I went to I did a inspect of 17 apartments. Took me an hour to inspect 17 apartments, took me 4 hours. To do the paperwork for the 17, for the 1 hour of total stuff. And just because they have to enter in the information, you know, it wasn't in the system, so there's a lot of computer work and stuff like that, but it makes it so now, when I'm going back in a month, all the information's in there, the pictures of the violations are in there. Just for paper trail wise, and so.
And you saw that you got the open. Or.
Yes. After the check,
Right.
you checked the wrong check mark.
And you checked the right check mark, but you weren't a criminal, that's good.
I guess we could.
So I would like to do it on OpenGov.
So are you allowed to do it online?
Yes.
They changed
I
it.
thought that.
The Milford has it done on.
I thought Dean.
Right, one person doing it.
So I know New Milford has it online, so basically you fill out they took all the things that was in there, put it into a permit on OpenGov, people do the permit on OpenGov and then they approve or disapprove the type of thing. For them, they actually charge a fee for it, I think they charge 10 or 15, I know Richfield's 10, I can't remember what the Milford charges for an open burn.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Where is it?
So they charge for it and then, you know, it goes, you know, back to the office, I don't know where it goes back to, but they do charge for it type of a thing.
I think that, I'm not sure how that would work with it, but I guess that has to be developed.
Yeah, so
You have to look at their app, their module for that, yeah, that's
Yeah.
part of the cost, you know, that's a.
Well, again, I know New Milford has, and same thing they have first too, so when I was talking to Ed and Kevin, hey, any check sheets or something like that, we'll just give you a copy of it type thing, or like work with first two, just basically copy and paste it to your account and stuff like that. And having the network of people is important, so you can copy, like, not reinvent the wheel, say, hey, this is how somebody else is doing it, let's try and copy the same way that somebody else is doing it.
Just again, a caution or advice would be to look at with tying down and how they've got it set up so that whatever modules you have to add to that, you know, they're all tuned to it. They know exactly what that is, if there's any insurance or the town or whatever, usually shouldn't be, I don't think that's on that program. Whatever it be, but yeah, just again, that's a coordination of the administrative aspect of your job with that, you know, land use.
Yeah, no, I know we're official, and then, right now everybody calls Stan, so I would probably have to do like call the office phone and just have different messages type. of
Yes,
thing.
you know, update
Phone
that.
message every day type of thing.
Sorry, Stephen is off enjoying his life, sort of. Please call me instead.
So we still got 5, 10.
Exactly.
Well, it's gonna be a transition and it's gonna be a transition for a lot of people.
Sure.
Stan's been here for a very long time.
Yeah.
Used to a certain ways, things like that, and you know. I think there'll be some growing pains from both directions type of thing, but overall, I want to make it so it's smooth as possible, but I also embrace technology. I think it's a good thing to embrace and to make sure, you know, it makes it a lot more available for people.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
well, if you look at like, you know, I don't know what the town's policies for social media, stuff like, I know emergency management has social media, I know that the town hall has social media. Fire marshal's office in New Milford has social media, there's a lot of different fire marshal's offices that have that as well too, and they kind of get the messages across for certain things like that as well too, so.
Yeah, we will be developing a better policy for social media because we're still with all the different functions and how we broadcast stuff both on Facebook and on town website as well as constant contact. It's where we have not brought it all together yet, so that's a good aspect to bring in. It is important.
It's important, but it's also a great venue or a great.
Yeah.
avenue to get it out.
And for people to know where to go, for us, it's reporting where you go to put it out. You just do it on your own, how do we have to coordinate and make sure the town understands, you know, what's going on under the town's name and so on, but yeah, or we'll definitely. Great. Any questions, any thoughts on this? Okay.
So if this happens sooner than I expect, like Stan retiring. I didn't really.
Oh, well.
I was for another year, but that's.
Well, yeah, that's true. He's wanted to go for a while, and I kind of pushed him off a little bit, and pushed him off, and, and as we talked, certainly, being a local fire official and a fire, part of the volunteer fire department, there's some preference on that, and we had to make sure it worked in, but keeping with our policy here is to open it up. It's a great thing that you did, and I'm glad you applied, and, go from there.
Thank you very much, guys. Appreciate it. If you have any other questions, get a hold of me.
It'll be in a touch version. So the next phase is, this is the recommending committee.
Okay.
And then we're actually having a board meeting Thursday afternoon. We have to appoint another individual, so put you on that agenda for that, or position on the agenda for that. So as soon as we're done here at deliberations, we'll contact you and then let you know.
Sounds good. Just before I leave, 47 Maple Street Extension. That kind of new services, let me know that they won't do service. Just letting you know, the oil tank is missing a leg and it looks like it's ready to fall. So it's out of my jurisdiction. I called Sam and asked you guys to check that.
47 Maple Street Extension.
Yeah. And they're doing a lot of renovations to the house as well too. Yeah, there's a company doing renovations to the house as well.
That's the
It's the two families.
Hudson, is that the Hudson?
I don't know, it's a company out of New York in the.
We have no permits.
There you go.
You'd be amazed the amount of stuff you find just happening upon things. You say that, right? I just want to let you know about that.
Yeah, thank you.
So Billy called me, he's like, is it your realm? I'm like, how many families? He's like, I think it's two. I'm like, okay, it's out of my realm type of thing. So
There was a question of whether it was a 3.
I think they tried to do it as a 3. I don't think I-
But it's got a lot of history that they're against Stan and Bill and. A lot of years there,
That's great. So I found
37 years.
I found something that was missed when the house and they built the dance studio you want. And that happened in 1995. And I found something that had been missed since 1995 on the fire code kind of thing. So you had everything on the actual paperwork was 100% right. There's fire separation, everything like that, except for the fact that no one caught the hatchway. That you literally went to the dance floor, opened up the hatch, and there's a stairway down to the residence. So you have no fire protection now. So at that point, so you take two individual things that were supposed to be, fine. Now you have no fire separation. So they just ended up taking and putting the alarm systems, tying them together. That allowed the thing, but it was just, I hate to say, but sometimes just find things. All right, thank you very much, guys.
Thanks, Sam.
Take care.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that's good. Back in the executive session.
We need to.
Really, not necessarily. Once we can agree on that this is our candidate and I want to go to office. Yeah, review result. I don't have no other discussion. I need to
We
talk.
can just make us,
Okay.
make a motion.
I'm sorry.
I think we can just make a motion.
Do we have to discuss this out?
Well, I would say for you. Chopping not all the way up, but 3742. What do you think? We're looking for. Reasonable. What do you think?
You can convince me of that, I guess.
Well, Stan was right around 40. I think letting him go through the first year, and that gives us some time, budgetary next time to see what kind of you.
Yeah, I don't have a dog.
Okay.
No, thanks. She's a contractor.
Probably should fold him into this whole process of the review process.
Oh, yeah, we will. Okay,
Yeah.
you know.
I mean, obviously, he's a little bit behind, but I mean,
No, he'll be part of that.
Yeah.
So the objectives are, this is perfect time for him to get in.
yeah, yeah.
And now, that's effective, it'll be effective 1 July, so he'll be brought right.
All right, so I'll make a motion that we hire Tim Bose as our applicant at $40 per hour to start July 1.
Second.
Is that everything?
For amendment to, just say to recommend to the board.
Oh, recommend to, I'm sorry, recommend to the board of selectmen.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
We're not.
Recommend to the board of selectmen. Bose as fire marshal, $40 per hour to start July.
Second. Okay. Favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Good. See no more business, we. Meeting. Or. Jeremy.
So much.
Right, again, it's
4:46.
4:46. Okay.